Welcome everyone to tacosandgeeks.com and GothamGeekGirl.com as well. And we are going to be talking about the 2025 reimagining of Wolfman. Justin here, and I have Nadia here. How you doing, Nadia?
Good, good, chilling. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And okay, let us get started. As always, folks, I do start everybody off with a brief synopsis of the film. So let me get that for you right now, folks. And without further ado, here we go with the synopsis. And it reads such as this, and it goes: Blake and his family are attacked by an unseen animal and in desperate escape barricade themselves inside a farmhouse as the creature prowls the perimeter. As the night stretches on, however, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable, soon to jeopardize his wife and daughter. And that was the synopsis. I'm gonna pass it to Nadia first. What were your thoughts of the Wolf?
It was pretty underwhelming, if I'm gonna be honest. I went to the Blumfest panel at New York Comic Con. I was like super excited for this. It was like one of the movies I was excited to like start the year off with. I don't think this was my first screening this year, but it was one of my first in-person screenings. So I don't know, I was just really hoping for it to be like a good start for the year for like horror film. There were a lot of great horror films ending 2024. And I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. I didn't like have crazy expectations, but I thought that, it being Blumhouse and then Leigh Whannell has done some awesome films like, Saw, Upgrade, Insidious. So I really thought that like he would bring like a fun new eye to Wolfman, and it was very underwhelming. I was very displeased.
Well, for me, I will have to say this, folks. Was, I was like, Nadia, I was expecting a little bit more. For me, my problem with the film, like the first act, I really liked the fact that I thought like the first act, if they kept that pace, like if they did this reimagining of a Wolfman, but it was like a drama because you have like family issues. You had, Blake and ends with Charlotte that look like they're on the verge of separation or divorce. Charlotte is realizing that she doesn't really have a real relationship with her daughter like Blake does. And I thought they was doing good with those interactions of really building us to really connect with those characters. But once they got to the farm, all character development left and Charlotte really just became this one note supporting wife character. And it was just like, yeah, you want us to feel for her, but she's not really developed besides the fact that she works a lot. And I don't know. It felt for me personally that we were at that stage. I was like, okay, you're doing this, but then you're like, oh snap, this is a horror movie. We have to introduce generic horror scared ass this, and even the horror. And this is when I started questioning people who were reviewing this when they were saying because I like body horror. I'm if you guys know me on the channel, I'm a horror nut. I love horror; is my favorite genre. So when people are like the body horror is like so disgusting, and I'm watching this, I'm like, this is what you're raving about. I was like, guys, we've seen body horror. Like this,
Substance did body
yes,
horror.
this was tamed to the least. And minor spoiler, folks, the body horror has to do with his arm and a little Easter egg nod towards the movie Saw. That's all I'm gonna say because we the director also wrote Saw with James Wan, so it was like a little Easter egg because I spotted. I was like, hmm. I was like, oh, that's a Saw, like a little nod to Saw right there. But I think this film would have did way better if they did a lot more characterization, more development, because there's moments in here where you're supposed to really feel for Blake, but it's not really earned because even he is not that developed. I kept seeing people talk about generational trauma, and that's one of the major themes in this. And I was just like, where is this generational trauma? His dad was strict. I don't really consider that generational trauma because he was a little strict in the early beginning with his daughter. I don't see how that is. Not what was your take on that?
I think the whole family dynamic, I had a lot of issues with the family dynamic, to be honest. I will say like it briefly touched on like I guess parallels to his childhood and to how he wanted to raise his child. Like I can understand that. Like him trying to be a better father for his daughter. Like they clearly establish that. Like that we understood. But I think it failed to do, I guess, like make more of a story about his father, because especially if his father is going to be, we'll just say it, the werewolf.
Yeah,
Um, I was pretty annoyed how like he had no contingency plans. Like if his father has been searching for this Wolfman for decades, apparently, how was he not like better prepared? Like, so this will go into like further in the story when Blake goes with his family. But I'm
mm,
just like, I'll go back to the part that like mostly pissed me off about this film is why he would bring his family there. If he has such trauma from his past that he stopped talking to his dad for what did he say, like 20, 30 years,
yeah.
he hasn't been home. Clearly, it is trauma and he has some type of like PTSD from his childhood. So why would he like be like, well, the peaks are beautiful. We should go move there. Like that was stupid to me. Like, yes, they briefly established that he has like trouble at home. I guess him and his wife are having some issues. But like, really, that's your plan to fix your marriage, to go somewhere where you have like trauma that like fucked you up so badly that you don't even speak to your own father. Like, it
Yeah,
just,
that's where I was confused with when it came to this trauma because I'm just like all I got from the scenes in the beginning with his dad was just that his dad was strict and he was trying to protect him, but I didn't see I felt like they didn't give me a reason why he stopped talking to his dad for
Mhm.
30 years because that one scene is just like, okay, he's a strict dad and he's worried like you're hunting with your son. You the one who left, so yeah, I will be a little pissed off. Like, don't run in the woods by yourself.
Yeah, it's
Like, I
like
don't
even
understand.
if his dad was like an a-hole, it
Yeah,
wasn't enough to justify like the whole, I guess, premise of the story. Like
yeah,
it needed more depth to it. And
yeah.
then I don't know, how did you feel about the casting? For me, they had zero chemistry. I love Julia Garner. I think she's a fantastic actress, but I think the casting was terrible. I know she's like in her 30s. She looks amazing. Like I think she's like a
Mm.
couple years younger than me or around my age. But I found them to be way off. Like she looked more like his daughter. They just didn't read couple to me. Even if they like hinted that they had trouble in their marriage, they never felt like a couple. Like not once.
I honestly, believe it or not, I actually like the cast. I thought they did both. I thought they did both good with their jobs. I think Julia should have had a little bit more to do, especially if we this is spoiler review anyway, folks. So
Yeah, at this point.
especially you know, towards the end when we know, okay, she's going to be the one who has to be the protector now. I mean,
Mhm.
she's in the poster. So she's right in there, folks. So she's the one who's going to have to take the role. So if you're going to go that direction, give her more to do than static wife supporting wife one and give her more layers like you were doing in the beginning. She's working too much. Her relationship is strained with her daughter. If you were going that direction, I wanted to see a little bit more conflict with her and her daughter. That way, when they come together as a team
Mhm.
and come together to survive, it's earned, not just like, okay, dad's turning a wolf now, so I'm gonna just rely on you now because you're the only one left. I don't really have a relationship with you, but you're here now. But I thought that chemistry was actually pretty good for the scenes that we got in the beginning. But I thought even Chris Abbott, I think yeah, Chris Abbott, he did
Mhm.
good. I think he did good as the Wolfman. My problem was once again was just like I didn't get a. It's like they did certain good things good, like that build up was fine. But even when you got to the wolf part, it was just lackluster. Like even when it came to okay, the wolf is his dad, and you're like, saw that a mile away
Yeah.
because the dad is missing. He just now got discovered, and then it's just like, okay, I knew there was the direction they were going because once we figure out, once they got into the car and he wasn't the one outside that car from the trailer, I was like, okay, so there's gonna be two Wolfmen in here, father and son. I was like, okay. Once he saw the tattoo, I was like, okay, y'all could have telegraphed this like yeah, I could have did a little bit better than to, telegraph this. But if I knew the minute they got to the farm, I'm like, okay, so the wolf is his dad, and he's gonna turn him into a wolf, and that's pretty much it. And he's gonna have to control his. I thought it was gonna be like something like him fighting the inner wolf in him to protect the family, and he'll sacrifice his life to save them, something like that towards the end. And like he'll push his dad off the cliff and they both fall or something like that. I thought it was
Yeah.
going that direction. But it was more okay, I'm gonna be the wolf as well. And even when he dies, it was just like you didn't feel nothing because it just ends literally. It ended like the 1930s Universal horror movies. The monster's dead. Cue the credits. I was like,
Really?
yes, that's it. I was like, that is all you're giving me here. Oh, okay, they survived. Beautiful view. Cut to credits. Like, oh my god. So now I'm worried if they're gonna do the Mummy next because there's rumblings and talking that the Mummy's gonna be
Gonna build the
next.
universe,
And,
yeah.
yeah, and then maybe a new reboot of Dracula, and that way it'll just be like that reimagining universe or just standalones. But honestly, folks, if I will rate this, and me personally, I don't do stars or anything. It's either how we do here on the Tacos and Geeks. It's either go to the theaters and watch it, wait for streaming, or skip it in general. I will wait for streaming for this one. Um, there's not enough horror here. Number one, that's also a disappointment. Even the transformation was disappointing. Like you might argue that the whole movie is a big transformation because I will say some positives though. I did like the fact that we get to see the wolf's perspective, meaning like how
Yeah.
the muffles, the X-ray, like the sonar or the
Like
the
night vision
muffling.
type.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Um, I personally like the acting. I did like the setting. I did get a sense of dread, but there's also the fact that characters are underdeveloped. It's very predictable. And as far as terms of body horror, if the only thing you guys are squirmish about was the fact that he was biting his own wound,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Because even the first guy who got killed, we didn't even see him get killed. He just pulled him away. So it's
Yep.
like, okay, where is this
Where's
body
the
horror
horror?
I was talking about? I didn't see it. And the fact that he like had to chew off his leg to get out of the bear trap, I was like, okay, but you did that with the arm, so that's
Yeah.
already it's already like. But I don't know, Nadi. What's your final rating?
I don't know. Let me go through some of my points. Like, first, like my main complaint was how predictable this movie was. I knew every single thing that was gonna happen. I even saw the foreshadowing of the treehouse. I was like, they're gonna end up at the treehouse and they're gonna have to kill the father. Like it was just like everything was like way too easy to predict. The same thing with the father. We're like, it's gonna be his dad. They revealed the tattoo. Everyone looked at each other and laughed in the theater. Like everything was just like too on the nose, way too predictable. That was my main complaint. Formulaic. I don't think there was anything really truly like new about this film. Even the concept of the werewolf, like I don't think he looked that great, to be honest.
Oh God, no.
I don't think his transformation looked complete. In my reaction, I basically described him as like what did I say? Like a Lord of the Rings like orc that's like not completely transformed but wet and like sweaty. Like he didn't look like he completely transformed. What I will say, what worked for me was the transformation actually.
Wow.
I
Okay.
kind of liked them showing like the teeth and like I guess like the bone cracking and stuff like that, which we typically expect from a werewolf movie. I just wish we would have gotten a little more. I do like that it was slow paced. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna go outside, I see the moon and I'm gonna turn and have the moon. Like I like at least it wasn't like that.
Yeah,
Um
this virus is like a
yeah, I
virus.
described him more as like a rabid animal. Like that I really liked. I like that take. That it wasn't just like a fantasy, I go outside and turn into a wolf at nighttime. Um so that's what worked for me about the like transformation aspect. I do think the characters were incredibly stupid. I'm sorry. Throughout the whole movie, like me and the people I was with, and even other audience members were like laughing and like you idiot. Like there were just too many moments. I was like, they could have done a better job.
Yeah, why
The
leave
main
him
thing of
back in the door? That was weird too. Just
yeah,
to let him
why
back
did she
in.
lock the door? That was
It,
really stupid. When
yeah,
she
and
locked
why
the door,
she?
had to go back and get the key. Like it's your house.
It's even
Who
that
lives
is
in this
what
town?
even when she what drove me nuts, and YouTuber Jeremy Johns said this the same thing as well. Why would you? leave him with your daughter to
Yeah.
go downstairs when you know this man is like
Yeah.
transforming and not well. Like great parenting there. I was just like,
I said from jump, she should have separated her daughter from him. And
yeah,
she even left the door open, letting her see him like bleeding and all creepy and eerie. Like, step one, protect your child. She should not have seen him at all once he started, freaking out. Like, you don't know what's happening. Um, but back to my point of him even bringing his family there, I feel like he should have had a better plan. Like when he gets to the house, even though he was already starting to feel some symptoms, he was still like cognizant of what's happening. Like he should have checked every single room in the house. Like he should have boarded up everything. Like I just feel like there was no preparation. He didn't even like check the entire house. Um, the how did they have I guess like food and stuff, like it looks like he ate that old beef jerky. How long was that there for?
exactly.
Like, but back to the point with the dad, like if the dad had been doing this for decades, I feel like the house should have looked crazy. Like he should have been like a nut job, like like a crazy hoarder that never left his house. He should have had like a safe plan with like a bunker with like tons of food and weapons in every single room. Like if the dad really like made this his life, made it consume his life, this house did not look like it was like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there should have been guns everywhere. There should have been chains everywhere. The father should have been prepared for if something happened where he locked himself up. So like if he had been chained at one point, like I just feel like he had no contingency plans, which made zero
Yeah.
sense.
Which was weird, especially if you've been hunting this, like you said earlier, especially if you've
Yeah.
been hunting this thing for so long, you would think you will have some type of contingency to be
Yeah.
like, okay, let me prepare this. Oh, let me leave something for my son just in case
Yep.
miraculously if something happens to me, they reach out to him, they find
And
wherever
who
he's
was he
at.
talking to? Like, was there a team of people on the hunt for this Wolfman? Have other people seen it? Were there any news reports? Did any of the other neighbors go missing? Did any of the other neighbors see it? We just had the one weird, creepy, like in the hole guy.
Yeah, that's that
It was
guy's
like
son. The
a neighbor, but it was
yeah,
like what
yeah,
what happened in this town? Is there one is there a single grocery store? Like is there anything? Like
there was zero. This is what we're talking about, folks.
no
Zero
context.
content or development with that particular thing. It's just like,
And that also brings me to like how easily I guess like everything was kind of resolved. If
yeah,
professional like hunters that dedicated their life were not able to catch these wolves, like this guy like killed his father like kind of easy. I wish like their fight would have been a little more difficult.
yeah.
And then like back to the point I made about the treehouse. We saw that coming a mile away, but it's like that was it.
It was. She didn't even shoot him in the head. She shot him in the like ribs or
And it's
something.
like I get that that was her husband, her daughter was there, but it's just like, what's the context of the? I can't really say like I don't
Mythology.
like I don't know what I'm trying to say because basically it seems more like a rabied thing,
Yeah,
but I guess we'll use like zombie logic. Like,
yeah,
is it the same if you get like bit? Is it the same um if you eat something or if you're like born with it or like cut by it? So basically in this case we saw he was like cut by it, but does that mean he still retains his memories? Like how far down the line or how far into the bloodstream, like because his father like didn't seem to recall anything. So why is it just because his daughter loves him, like he
the
remembers
power
her?
of love
Like
cliche, Nadia. The power of love cliche.
like
I
they
remember because of the power of love.
they
That's
didn't
all it
establish
is.
so many things. Like that's really what like failed for me with this like narratively. There was really no context. It was very formulaic, very predictable, and so many things like were flawed for me.
I have to agree. But what to wrap this up? What would you rate this based off your rating system on what
Like
you give it?
think Letterboxd, I gave it 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. And folks, I will just say, wait for streaming. Disappointing. They have some good spots, like Nadia said. There's some enjoyment here. As to just to wrap this up, to give it as looking at it from a horror fan's perspective, absolutely not scary at all. Fear is subjective, so what might be scary for you guys might not be scary for me and Nadia. But as far as the actual wolf, no, the design didn't even scream werewolf to me. Um, there thankfully wasn't that much jump scares at all. I think it was just one jump
Yeah,
scare that you
surprisingly.
already saw in the trailer. Um, but yeah, I can't recommend this. You guys paying full price for this movie, especially the way theater prices are right now. I would say just wait. I think Universal is from Universal, so it might be on Peacock probably in the next couple of months. So I will just wait for them. So we're gonna wrap this up. This is Justin and Nadia. Justin from otakusandgeeks.com and Nadia from GothamGeek.com. If you like what we do here, hopefully we earn your subscription. So you can obviously hit the subscribe button, the like button, and notification bell on our channels. And we'll catch you on the next review later days.